restrooms, and now they know if they fall back towards the B-bomb side, they don't have to worry about a really quick flank. What they do have to worry about is Kjaerbye being right here, looking into the sewer, getting some good damage in, but he's shooting them in the feet, and that's just not good enough. He's going to get taken out by Rush with a little bit of help from Mixwell. They're going to put up that smoke, which is a signal that they would be coming B, but we can tell they're running back up the stairwell towards the A-bomb side. Astralis, they're going to think on their feet right now.
OpTic here too, and definitely keeping the options open now as they shift right back up towards the A-bomb site to make the hit in there. However, they're expecting something. Device taking a look out over here towards long, spots the first player to take down Rush. More on the way. Stanislaw does catch the trade for it, and as they move into the last one is going to be stuck over by Semi. That's Dupree, and he immediately gets knocked out into a 4v2. Astralis try to hold, but down goes Kerrigan, leaving only Xyp9x up and alive.
Just a really great call coming out, and with the flank coming in, Xyp is going to pick up one kill, but he should not be able to do this. I'd be very disappointed if OpTic give him any chance to win this 1 versus 4, because he's already taken out one, and that's all he really should be able to do here. Really good call with the smoke into the sniper nest down at the B-bomb side, and then the fall back here. Xyp looking for the headshot, but he's going to get taken out. Tariq picking up a double kill, and OpTic going to pick up the pistol round.
Really key moment there where I think the guys from OpTic gain great controls when they do shift things back over down towards sewers. Astralis actually had a great setup there too with Kjaerbye and Xyp9x, but Xyp9x almost immediately after the door opens from connector, he falls back onto the B-bomb site. That leaves his teammate basically alone to take on the entire team pushing him. And with him getting knocked out too, we just never really saw a reaction to that. So OpTic really good at keeping themselves mobile, just knocking out these players one by one, and eventually obviously just taking full control of that A site to pick up the round.
Kerrigan here, single flashbang in hand, and you can see he's up at the sniper's nest. He's ready to set it up for his teammates. I like this investment. Again, I know I keep harping on about it, but it's just a $200 investment, and it can really work out. They do have a pretty big stack going on down towards B. So if OpTic are a little bit careless, if they just sort of rushed in or walked in there, it could be scary. But we can tell, especially looking at that minimap, they're definitely not being careless right now. They are playing this one very safely. Yeah, this is just really good Counter-Strike coming out of the OpTic team.
As you normally expect there in the second round too. So OpTic, they got all the angles here and making sure they take their time about it. But just like on the pistol round there too, not deciding on a site right from the get-go. They're remaining very mobile across the map, shifting back down into the T-spawn now, and holding Mixwell in a very consistent position there too, at the edge of the lower tunnels in case anybody tries to flank down from the bathrooms into the connector itself. Now they'll move in though, they'll take control of sewers, and this is actually looking like where the execute's going to come in, and the timing of it works out great, because this is when Astralis is rotating back up to A.
You're right, they were, but Kerrigan is actually in position against Xyp. It's on the slope. This could work out. It's a matter of timing. Stan going to give up the first damage there. Flash comes in, and it's a team kill somehow. Kerrigan taking out Xyp9x. That's really confusing. Device is going to be going down as well, and Kerrigan shots down just one player. Stanislaw out of the round. Dupree alone in a 1-on-4. And that fallback, I think it was just the clock that made them sort of want to walk back towards the A-bomb side. I don't think there was any specific information that Astralis got out of that one. So just fortunate timing there coming out of OpTic, but they managed to get absolutely the most out of it.
Yeah, absolutely, and they don't spot anything there, so a good reason for Astralis to try and shift back up towards the A site, but ultimately now Dupree, a nice shot on the Dath. At the very least keeping him alive for a bit longer, but he doesn't dare move in to retrieve that gun at 23 HP. They need something to make some impact with on that third round here, so he's just going to retreat back out towards long where he should be safe.
This is just a pointed detail. I like the overall idea for Astralis with the flashbang down there, but I kind of wish they would have had someone looking into the actual sewer pipe or the monster pipe, because that way OpTic, they will have their focus somewhere else and they won't expect the flashbang to come in from behind. The way that Astralis set it up, they did kind of telegraph that something was coming up, and it would have been hard for them to catch too many players flashed. But I still like the idea. Going into the third round here, nothing surprising that we can tell. Deagle picked up on Dupree or saved from Dupree there, that's about it. So, yeah, just a normal round coming out, I would say.
Yeah. And for Astralis here, now we're going to actually play themselves a little bit more forward, closer to the short A position here too. As OpTic have been investigating it, and exactly, you're going to see Dupree getting that kill. Oh, good reaction from Naf though, to grab the kill into Kjaerbye. Almost looked like he didn't check it at first, but good recovery, and they do trade out those kills, and of course get an extra man up now. But there is still someone lurking against them here in the bathroom connector. That's going to be Device, and if they don't check for this in a moment, he may be able to pick off one or two of them.
I can certainly hear Stanislaw right on the other side, so he's a little bit weary right now, but they're going to fall back and pick up the bomb here. Yeah, being up on those shelves is pretty cool, and you can jump up there on your own. You don't actually need to be boosted up if you know what you're doing on the stairwell. Naf in a little bit of trouble, but he's getting some backup here, so pretty good teamwork, and nice for him not to fight it. He's already got a triple with the Mac 10, so he's got so much money, might as well save the Kevlar into the next round and just have even more of a bank going forward. Device looking maybe for exit kills, or just admiring the club entrance there. You can hear the music if you walk close enough to that door.
Can you really?
Yeah.
Just checking it out right now, of course. There's a hide in that pretty typical spot that we do expect these guys to be moving in towards now. So for him, he'll look to keep this gun alive and well for the next round. At the very least, just to hunt down a few of the OpTic players retreating out towards here, but they're playing it safe. They're sticking it together, and I don't even think they're going to be retreating out from that route. So Device will be able to keep this gun in check, obviously, but won't be finding any additional kills if that was his goal.
So wouldn't obviously call that a big win. There are some teams that will hold on to a Mac 10. Some teams will just throw it away like this. I wouldn't be surprised either way, but obviously if he does hold on to it into the next round, if he's going to plan on using it, it limits the options for where they can take it. You kind of have to go somewhere that's a little bit close. So it could be restrooms, it could be down the connector. But if they're going to try and hold on to it, which so far he is, it'd be interesting. He's going to pick up an AWP instead. A little part of me, Blue, was hoping that it would be different.
Maybe looking to save a little bit of money there. There's actually a couple other options too, especially in the NA Pro League. We've seen some teams hold that wall just outside and around from Monster there on the A site too, and they can kind of do double duty, holding both the Monster push and the push from Construction. And it's actually worked out pretty well there in certain scenarios because you don't normally expect it to be played there. So, but in this case, obviously going the other direction. However, the OpTic players, they'll still keep one of their SMGs in check. That'll be Naf, but as we get into the round itself, Kirby with an aggressive push, it's actually going to be Device that picks up the first kill against Stanislaw. He's not made any noise as of yet, and he's still holding to this position, but in the meantime, OpTic, they're all gone now. They're lined up outside of Monster, and they're getting ready for a direct push into the B-bomb site.
Sip and Carrigan are on the site, and all they need to call for a little bit of backup. It's not that far away in connector. Sip going to get the first look in, and that's a great kill, but they get the quick return. Tarek taking down Sip and Carrigan both, and suddenly we're in a 3-on-3. The bomb's about to go down, but there's a heavy health advantage right now favoring the Danish team. Tarek and Rush are very low on health.
And Kirby wasting no time too, lining up the other angle to push back in through Monster, but he's spotted early on here too, so all of a sudden the surprise is gone. That's a perfect flash over top the barrels though, and the follow-up takes down Naf, bringing it down to only 2, and these are the 2 with the worst health as well. Tarek and Rush with a combined HP of around 40 here, gonna have to try and hold off the remaining 3 from Astralis, and now they start to move in using their utility. Tarek though finding another pickup. He's managed to drop Kirby. All of a sudden things aren't looking so great here as they're running low on time as well. Debris moving in, doesn't expect Rush at first, but he does get the kill, and as Tarek tries to move in, he's got to be careful. No more utility. They've already jumped onto the bomb here. This has got to be a miracle shot. Goes back to the bomb. He actually stops the defuse. So now this all comes down to the timer, and he doesn't have enough of it. So OpTic are going to clutch out this round and go 4-0 to start.
An absolutely disastrous round for Astralis. They had almost no information in that retake. They were so unsure. You saw how many corners they were checking, even though they were only looking for 2 people. And even after the kill, even when OpTic make it a 2-on-2, that even doesn't give them that much information on the Astralis team. So that's a really big issue. Huge win for OpTic.
And with that, they're going to be able to get away scot-free into this next round too. Just seeing the upgraded pistols come in for Astralis, and they'll obviously play things a little bit more aggressively on this round, trying to line up those angles to punish these T-sided players. You do have Kirby playing up at the tree angle and long. A couple more players hugged up as well, but the first attempt at getting aggressive fails. Mixwell is going to shut down Dupree, and OpTic get their early man advantage here as they'll once more take things slow.
So much space being brought here for the North American team just by getting that one round. The AWP up, and the fact that Astralis got such a good start to that round, you'd think it was a lock, but it definitely wasn't. Kirby behind the tree, maybe he'd get a kill, but not even gonna happen. He's actually ducked. Obviously he's meant to stand up at some point and take a peek, but that never happened. Carrigan and Sip are left, and Carrigan is on a big adventure right now. I'm not sure it's really gonna pay off, but I respect the effort.
He might at the very least be able to catch, I think it's Mixwell still playing out over there towards Party, but he's even checking behind him now too, and if he gets close enough here, he's certainly going to hear him creeping up. Doesn't though. Carrigan, he's got the shot lined up, and there you go. At least something to be gained from that route around the map, but ultimately OpTic still have full control of this round. The trade from Nav, and Zipix is stuck back down below the dumpster there, where Rush is going to shut it out without too much response.
Yeah, we'll see. That setup from Astralis in that 4th round was... The odd thing was that even trading evenly in the B bomb side, because two of the players from Astralis were real close by towards connector, you'd think they'd be able to be there in time to stop maybe even a bomb plant, but it just never happened. Now we'll see. They're going to get one more chance here with the rifles. They've got pretty much everything they need, maybe lacking some Molotov grenades, but that's about it. OpTic setting quite a different pace, already running into sewer, just trying to catch anyone early on here. Looks like Astralis are going to be very conservative, not really pushing anywhere.
And they move in here too. OpTic will take quick control of the sewers this time, while still keeping a lot of their players out over here towards Playground and whatnot, rather held back. This is a lot of early control for Mixwell to move in, and he's even spotted some of these players too, trying to get damage in. In the meantime, though, I think Naf got hit by a nade that was tossed over, so he's been brought down very low. Only about half of his HP left here. But after getting this control, no falling up just yet. And unfortunately, Mixwell tries to move himself into the connector very quickly, where there's a 2-stack from Astralis waiting. They're just going to pick up that kill and fall back safely to the A site.
They're doing a really good job playing 3 men towards the restrooms aggressively like that, because they have Device covering him, so they can actually fall back up the stairwell. That can be a problem sometimes. Even if you win the battle in connector, you might not be able to escape that easily and you get sandwiched in, but they had Device there locking it down with the AWP now. Once again, Astralis a little bit ahead early on here, the rifle round. We'll see if they can hold on to it. OpTic, I'm concerned they don't have that much map control, and we're down to about 40 seconds on the clock. That could be a problem for them right now.
Yeah, and they essentially just completely gave up the earlier movements that they made over here towards sewers too. There was no resistance from Astralis on it. They were able to line up there, but now they've just gone back to what is essentially going to be a straightforward A hit here. All 4 of their remaining players now trying to push into the bathrooms here, using smokes and whatnot to get in, but there's no one covering that exit to the bathrooms. Device is just a shooting gallery for him. 2 quick kills. Nothing OpTic can do to try and resist that really, unless they try to flash him out. Thankfully, Device does get a bit too greedy, and when he peeks out, Tarek is going to find the shutout, but still 15 seconds left to get this bomb on the ground. Tarek is a good position here to try and move himself in and be supported by Stanislaw, and actually Stanislaw gets that kill, but thankfully for the Astralis guys, Xyp9x and Kirby wrap back around and prevent that from going any further.
So they make it a little bit more expensive than maybe it needed to be, but still saving 3 rifles, one of them the AWP. It's not the end of the world right here as we move into the 7th round. OpTic finally put on a little bit of a break, but I think they're still going to be in a very good mood. We've got Tarek on 8-1-2. That's definitely good news. Mixwell towards the bottom of the scoreboard, so they even have more resources that they could draw on later on OpTic. You don't often see Mixwell having too many bad games, so be surprised if he doesn't turn up. There's Stanislaw going down, though. Device, again, that very aggressive play coming out towards the birthday area.
And again, OpTic here too, after losing Stanislaw, slow down the roll immediately. They don't try to push up for any additional control. They don't try to look for a trade. This might become a problem if it becomes something that they consistently do, as obviously they're hoping for that extra aggression to come out from Astralis, but their game plan seems to be the exact opposite. If they get one of these kills, bit of an exception now coming in for Kirby, but for the most part, when they've gotten that early kill, they've decided to fall back instead of reapplying the aggression and trying to capitalize on it anymore.
I don't like the fact that Kirby is this far up alone. This is not a safe situation. Good kill for Carrigan there, Naf, trying for the duel early on. Rush is actually walking in with the bomb as well. That's up on the other side, and oh, he wins that fight. If he didn't, the bomb would be dropped out in the middle of nowhere, and that would be a very bad turn of events. As it is, Astralis still have a man lead, and we're down to 50 seconds here. Looks like OpTic going to try and go for this B bomb side one again, and they do have a lot of Molotovs, Blue.
And they are ready to just go right into it here now, too. They're leaving themselves a lot more time, obviously. That was one of the big issues that stopped them in the last round there, leaving only about 10 seconds when they finally started that 2-on-4 site take. Flashbangs over first here for Tarek as he moves in. He's trying to take that right side. Great reaction, though, as Carrigan tries to peek down from the ramp there. He's going to pick that up. Xyp9x, though, trying to hide in the pit. He sees them peeking in, but that's a messy spray. Mixwell's just barely going to survive that encounter with 7 of his own health, and they move in. This is a lot like one of the last rounds, though. These guys have all been hit up here, and despite the fact that it's a 2v3, it's a very winnable situation for Astralis. The first pick up there, the second one following it. It's like clockwork here. And now only Mixwell alive with 7 HP, moves in, immediately shut up by Dupree, and Astralis will find their second.
It's a little bit scary. They didn't have any HA grenades left. They had the one Molotov there. Now, obviously, just waiting for the bomb so that they can go and pick up any rifles if they can find that AWP, which Device will do all the way in CT spawn. So that's going to be a second round for Astralis. It was slightly more expensive than the last one. And OpTic got the bomb down. So this really matters for the economy game, obviously. In the middle of all of this, Astralis are losing a lot of money, and OpTic are keeping their economy somewhat afloat, but that won't be true if they lose this round too. That's the defining difference here in the 8th round.
And obviously the money doesn't really allow it at this point too, but we haven't really seen that op coming into play so much from Mixwell just as of yet. This has actually become a thing with him too, where on the T side, he doesn't necessarily always try to go for it there, especially if the money doesn't really favor the possibility for it. He likes to sort of shy away from it in certain respects on this half. So it may actually be a possibility that we go all the way through this T out without ever really seeing it from him, and he only picks it up on the second one. Anyway though, OpTic already sending 3 players in through Monster, trying to take quick control there, but Astralis, good utility usage, are holding this back really nicely.
I'm impressed. A lot of teams actually in OpTic's position there would have tried to force it anyway, especially when you know there's someone at the barrels. That's a really big incentive to try and make their way through, and they did hold it back. And you're right, there were some good counter flashes coming out from the Astralis side, so maybe that was helpful. A boost up here. Stan looking for the kill. He's out. He got it. No, he's looking for it there. Tab coming in. Karrigan going to be going down. Very well played. OpTic. They saw that position the first time around, and they executed on it.
And so with that, finally OpTic are back to getting that early man advantage here. It's been quite a few rounds now where Astralis have actually had that honor to have that advantage, but now with that cleared, they can go for the push. Stan immediately shutting down Xyp9x here. As he moves in, a response will come in for Dupree. A second one on top of that as well. Even out again, he'll move in with Device, saving his teammate's life there as he was caught with the knife out, but now he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, and Naf and Rush are going to move in, picking up 2 kills, but here comes Kirby. He's able to stop the bomb from going on the ground, and all of a sudden, this is isolated to a 1v1. Naf is pushing it though. He's got him trapped in the corner, and Kirby loses the final 1v1. Naf is going to close it out. OpTic right back to picking up these rounds, 6-2. And we will go into a pause.
And it's a tactical timeout as well, called by Astralis, and you cannot really blame them here. 6-2, and they just got reset very hard, and suddenly it matters so much that they lost those 2 rifles when they won the first rifle round, and then they lost 3 in the next one. They just haven't built a big enough economy here.
This has been coming down to a lot of very, very close encounters. Even when we were seeing OpTic win, for those first 5 rounds they picked up, it was very close. But, I mean, on the 2 that Astralis were able to pick up, 3 players surviving, 2 surviving, it wasn't looking great. Even on this one, only 1 player stays alive for OpTic, so they're kind of scrapped a little bit here too. But obviously Astralis, with the money they have, if they decide to go for an investment, of course, if they can win the eco round, it's great, because then they immediately break that T side. But the loss of it is obviously going to cause some huge resounding results, as that's just going to send OpTic's lead even more forward here.
So we'll see the Danish team not really with any economy to buy anything, so I doubt that the sort of tactical pulse will have any real effect in this round. This is more one of those rounds where you just try and make yourself feel a little bit good, maybe get a couple of kills in if you can. Not really buying too much. Dupree could have probably bought a flashbang or anything else like that, but he's just going to be holding on to the money.
OpTic again, though, in the opening moments of the round here, they send their usual suspects to their normal positions, having Naf push his way out closer towards Monster there. A little bit more reserve with it this time. Doesn't push directly up to the tunnel itself. And obviously still having Mixwell down below in the tunnels leading up to the connector there. The other 3, the slow push up, they're actually being cautious, expecting Astralis to eco this time. They're going to wait and see if they decide to, decide if they try to push out towards long. But again, everything's stacked on the B bomb, so they've taken the risk stack, and if OpTic just go forward with this A hit, it's pretty much already going to be there around here, as they're just going to walk right onto the site.
Now wrapping back down into connector, clearing out everything, so making sure they don't get rushed in from behind if anything happens. They're trying to make that jump out there, but Astralis obviously really heavily stacked up towards the B bomb site, and I feel like even if OpTic go for this, they should be in a good position. Oh, Mixwell, wild spray coming out, taking down Xyp9x right through that panel.
And they've got the door with the hole in it now too, so Tarek can just sit here. I believe they know Karrigan has already pushed past it here, but obviously just waiting to see if there's going to be anyone wrapping back. Astralis obviously read the fact that they are going to be moving up to A, so the other 3 have started their push in. Tarek, though, is still trying to play around there, and in the meantime, those 3 rotators from Astralis get nothing done, and even Tarek handles Karrigan easily there. 5 alive for OpTic. Nice chance to build up their money once again, and with that save, Astralis will also be picking up their guns this time too.
They can pick up guns, yes, Astralis, but it's still a very bad position for them to be in. They've got the AWP, but if you look at the grenades and the utility overall, it's not that impressive. They don't have a single Molotov grenade, and they really matter for retaking, and I feel like retaking has already been sort of a theme here, especially on the B-bomb side. If you don't have the grenades to zone out the defense, then it is always going to be tricky. Oh, Device, that's so cheeky.
Almost tries to hit those shots there too. If they do connect, it would be very impressive indeed, but now just falls back inside of the bathroom and waits for that slow peek up towards Party there. May get it in a moment, but it's a tense situation, as he also has to deal with the pressure coming in from those steps too. If someone decided to sneak back in, thankfully he'll get smoked back off though, so he'll retreat without losing anybody, but this is also, of course, more ground going into the control of OpTic.
Still over a minute left, and Naf there picking up the bomb and just gonna connect with his team. Kirby very close to the edge. He's gonna be flashed in, but Rush takes him down. That's a good idea for Astralis. It just didn't work this time.
So many team-saving moments there, too. I think we saw it a couple rounds ago, too, where somebody from Astralis tried to peek out on the retake there, and it was an op shot from Device that just barely saves them. Second or third time we've seen a split-second reaction from a teammate save multiple of their opponents from getting knocked out here. The boost up from Device behind the APC. Fortunately, that smoke just a little bit too high up, so he's not going to be able to spot. I believe it's Stanislaw pushing his way up towards long now, but in the meantime, the hit's not even coming from this direction either. This is putting a lot of pressure on Dupree in a moment. Device will get that kill onto Stan. Nicely played from him, but now the real test comes in as the B hit is going to actuate.
Well, Dupree holding the back for a moment, but OpTic there rushing in behind him, and Dupree doesn't realize he's got no backup there. This is actually really good counter-strike from OpTic. Once again, as soon as they lose the player over at A-Long, they go for B. There's no hesitation now. Carrigan going to be charging in. He gets a double turns around, triple kill. Tarek going to be going down. Captain Carrigan to the rescue, and that is going to be one hell of a save there. Honestly, I'm almost a little bit disappointed because OpTic, this is something that many teams struggle with. When they lost the fight over at A-Long, when that boost came in and Device got the kill, a lot of teams would spend like really valuable like 5 seconds where they discuss, should we go, should we fall back, you know, do they know that the push is not coming here? They almost instantly, I was looking at the minimap, they almost instantly went for it OpTic. So they did the right move, just didn't count on Carrigan.
Carrigan with a split-second decision to just push right in there, too. OpTic, as you mentioned, they had no idea that that push was going to come in so aggressively, so he shuts that down instantaneously. And Astralis will be able to find a third round off of that, but like mentioned previously, OpTic's very clean anti-ACOs here is going to allot them yet another buy. 5 AKs for the team, decent utility. They're still sitting good here, but after this one, they'll be broken again if Astralis can rack up 2 once again.
And the same is true for Astralis if they lose this one, which would be, I say, infinitely worse right now for the CT side. The economy is so hard to get back up and running. Rush ready with the AK, just a shoulder peek out, and Device has been spotted.
Notice he's there now, and the Astralis players, too, also have, I believe, 2 sitting themselves over here in the connector area. The player that was positioned just over there on the short A, outside from the bathrooms, has fallen back to the site, but they still have a lot of pressure ready to defend it should the OpTic guys go for it now. And Mixwell still holding in his spot. They've expected it at this point. Kirby's going to win the first battle outside there on the steps, but now Mixwell catches the trade. The flashbang from the CT, though. Kirby ends up blinding himself, so he can't follow it up. And now Kirby's trapped. All of a sudden, Mixwell peeks out from down below and shuts down Kirby. OpTic again now with the control in the 4v3, and they're going to rush right out to the B-bomb site.
And Carrigan is here. We'll see if he can get any backup in time. He doesn't really have any utility to hold him back, so it's going to have to be just raw rifle power coming up from Astralis right now. Backup is coming in slowly but steadily. 20 seconds left, and Carrigan trying to hide in the pit. He knows he has to wait for his teammates to come in. Tarek going down. That's the first kill happening. He's turning around there, blanking him. He gets one more shot, and Sip picking up. Rush now, it's down to left. 9 seconds. He's going to spray it down. They're star one-on-one. He needs that bomb plant. He's already got the double kill. And Device on the other side with the AWP trying to find the tag through, but he escapes through the smoke, and Naf with a flashbang out, just trying to buy himself a little bit of space. Device on the other side, and it's going to be the spray. Naf going to win it with a triple kill. A huge round for OpTic Gaming. It looked like they were losing that.
So many 1v1 clutches coming out here now for the OpTic side. So many successes, so many huge individual plays. Tarek and Naf currently leading the way at 11-6 and 10-6 respectively. Those two have been saving OpTic on so many rounds here, and now it's built up a huge lead, as I believe Astralis are going to use their second pause of this half now, and they certainly need to, down at 8-3, and again with a broken economy.
Now, there was a really, it's not often we get to see the actual sort of communication in effect, but in that connector, when Dupree and Kirby were having a bit of an issue there in the beginning, you very clearly saw that when Dupree engages down in the tunnel, he's falling back. Kirby gets the first kill, and then Dupree's calling for backup, and Kirby sort of tries to get back in there, and they just can't get the communication quite right. There's a little bit of an input delay, and eventually they end up taking just some really bad fights there. I feel like maybe Dupree should have just committed to the fight early on and try to see if he could do it. Because effectively, he ended up drawing Kirby back into a really bad position. So there was a little bit of a mess up there early on for Astralis. But scoreline is 8-3. The timeout is done with, and we're going to be moving into the 12th round here. OpTic with a really big lead. An
important note here too, OpTic now finally picking up the op for themselves, but it's not actually going to go towards Mixwell. It's going to be Naf picking this up too. As I mentioned before, Mixwell was showing some confidence issues with using the op on the T side, so they have started to experiment with using it on different members of their team instead of putting it in Mixwell's hands in this half. And they actually are just going to push directly up towards the fountain. But again, OpTic has been playing passively the entire time. Stanislav picking up the first one. We did also see Rush getting himself into a bit of a battle there too. He knocked one of them down to 8 HP, but on the re-peak there, now assisted by an additional teammate, Rush is still going to be able to take both of them down. The final two, well, final one now is Kerrigan working on a flank from T-spawn, but with OpTic clearing out 4 to 5 of them, they're just going to rush their way over here. And actually, Kerrigan is going to find himself one player pushing up the steps, but Tarek even manages that. Nothing being found at all on the save round from Astralis.
Just really good fundamentals coming out of OpTic, which is important. If you're playing a team like Astralis, if you did leave them room, you could lose a round like that. So I'm glad to see that they're not doing it. Astralis can buy, but again, it is not to a very high level of satisfaction here. They have very little utility. They don't have the AWP. They even had to buy UMP. Things are looking dire right now, and Tarek actually moving right in through the tunnel. Going to be going for the spray. He's a little bit out in the open, but can Astralis stop this? Kerrigan going to be picking up one shot there. Flashed as well, turning around. He can't walk into the corner. The fire is there covering it, and Tarek picking up another 2 kills.
The utility there is so important. OpTic end up coming out on top. Just a volley of flashbangs going back and forth between the two teams. And we do end up seeing OpTic come out on top of it due to the heroics, once again, of Tarek. Having the moves to move forward, they're taking that aggressive position, and that ultimately lets him get closer range to find these kills. Kirby does try to go for the early flank. He's got Dupree supporting him too. It's 2 pickups for Astralis, and now they've evened this thing out once again. Both of the T's are actually going to fall back into sewers here too, and Dupree gets himself into an open duel. Mixwell goes right out into the open and takes that. Now it falls to Device. He has them both blocked out, but due to the utility issues, he can't stop them from moving in. He's stuck it this time. Jumps off of there to find the kill, but that's going to lead to his own death. Naf just walks right back in with a Tech 9, and oh, the dirty little BM as well. OpTic, they know they have the lead now, and they're just looking to punish.
Oh, wow. I can't blame them at this point. Look, that 2v2 for once was at least one where Astralis had the information. They actually had a very good read exactly where both the OpTic gaming players were. It just wasn't enough. And look at the crowd. They're loving this, absolutely loving this. Could call them the home crowd here. It is 10-3 right now, and we are drawing to a close of the first half, and Astralis struggling right now to keep themselves alive.
They've already been met with aggression on previous rounds, and there's no real reason here to suspect it wouldn't happen again. And while it has happened again, at least with 2 in the connector here, Mixwell is playing it back to the edge of the tunnel. The 2 that have pushed inside here, the Device and Kirby, aren't really going to try and do anything aggressive here. They're just going to post up in that position and look for the T's to push them. Naf even catching that push directly out from the monster position as well. So just slow and steady from OpTic, and generally speaking, up to this point, it's won them the race. So
but there is no incentive for them to do anything different than what they're doing right now. Why would they switch it up? Kirby going to find the bomb, and if they had 4 rifles, I'd be excited, but it's still going to be very tough to hold on to all of this. If they can get the first 2 kills, maybe they could steal a rifle and get away with this. Device going to be walking in behind, and actually Kirby, Rush even walking in and making a lot of noise, but Kirby not hearing it in time. And that means it's pretty much done with. Device is in the worst type of sandwich. He's going to get the 1 kill in and going for a bit more. Not going to happen.
Positioning there gets him that kill too. They went for that flank, so some damage being done, but the final 2 as well, pushing their way back out from the CT main area here on the B-bomb site. Just going to play it safe, smoking them off. We actually do see them. Rare missed shot there coming out, but it doesn't really matter. Stanislav and Mixwell do dispatch of the kills anyway. So now as we get into the last round of the half, OpTic already with a huge lead, 11-3, and it will be a gun round to decide things here.
They really don't look particularly confident right now. Astralis, you could see their body language just sort of a little bit slumped and shaking their heads a little bit. I'm not sure if they have the energy right now to get back in it, and usually the only thing that can change that is one guy making a huge play. They need someone to step up with like a really big end or beginning to a round, or they need someone to clutch a big round here to get anything back into the team. And again, OpTic with a very slow and measured start.
Naf here also just waiting to see again, still playing it slowly to see if Astralis are going to do anything drastic here to try and make up the differences. They've been able to have some heroics on some of these previous rounds here. Kerrigan specifically with that last second push, which actually netted in the 3rd round. We haven't seen any rounds pushed together from Astralis since then. But now OpTic taking things slowly. They will shift up the connector where they have 2 waiting for it. It's the tag team duo of Device and Kirby looking to hold in here. Smoked off, so they're good for now. Over OpTic are knocking at their gates, and they may soon push in just a few moments.
We're going to go for a bit of boost over. Device is right down in front. If he walks back any further, that could be a bit scary. Actually, you could see Stanislaw just trying to go for the shots through, but not really connecting at this point. 45 seconds left, and Kjaerbye got to be careful he doesn't turn his back like that. He don't have that much control over a long. OpTic are leaving this one very low on the clock. They've got to be careful. It looks like they are rotating back towards the B bomb site, but there's 3 people down here for Astralis. They're reading the situation very well. Trying to use Mixwell to open up the bomb site with the scope, looking for the first one. Not quite going to get the flick, but now they are going to have to execute on the site. They can't really do anything else. 20 seconds left to Pre, and then Carrigan following it up with a big kill on Naf.
Now we are going to see Mixwell just holding back by the sandbags. He picks up 1 kill. Unfortunately, Rush has failed on the monster push. Stanislaw is sneaking his way in, but Device expects it. He's able to take him down. It falls to Mixwell now, and he's just trapped in this site. So we will see Astralis bring together at least one more round. It's going to be 4-11 at the end of the half there, but OpTic with that huge lead, all they have to do now is capitalize on their CT side, and they're going to be able to close it out. So, folks, that second half should be coming up in just a few moments. Stick around, and we'll be returning with it very, very shortly.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The second half coming up here between Astralis and OpTic Gaming. We are at ESL 1 New York, and so far it has been explosive, and almost all of it in favor of OpTic. They have knocked it out of the park here at the Barclays Center. It's 11-4 in their favor. Blue, what could you really say about that?
Echoes of Leicester at this point, too, as OpTic once again stunning us, bringing some really solid counter-strike to the table here on their T side on Overpass, and unfortunately not allowing Astralis to pick up much at all in their first half. Now on the T side, we have to see if they can bring anything to the table at all. Even a loss of this pistol round is going to be a huge detriment to them, and with that, OpTic can essentially just push right forward, and it would have to be just a huge streak of rounds from the Danes at this point to be able to stay in this tournament and keep them from getting knocked out early here along with G2.
Yeah, a bit of a tweet from Fallen here as well. I feel like whenever you get, you know, a thumbs up from Fallen, you know you're doing something right. It's gotta feel good right now, and you're right. Naflime has been playing well. Just feel like I'm overall very impressed. There's not much hesitation, and they're very regimented right now on OpTic. It seems like this is a real team and a real unit that we're watching. Nobody is even lacking behind on the scoreboard right now. They're all playing very well. They are led by Tarek a little bit, who's at 15 kills. And let's see what Astralis can show us here. They've got a single smoke and a couple of flashbangs, so I wouldn't say that's setting up for the most impressive execute. But, you know, smoke allows you to do pretty much anything on this map.
And as I mentioned before a couple times the last time too, we didn't really see Mixwell picking up the op at all. That's not going to become a factor. We were seeing earlier just how potent he was able to perform with that in his checks. So now, assuming these guys get off to a good start and they're able to afford something like that, it's just another factor that Astralis have to sort of check up on the mental board here and really worry about once we get into those gun rounds. And Tarek, obviously too, a big thing with him that I was noticing is, like, especially in the online games for the ESL Pro League, he was kind of struggling to find his place in this team and really solidify his role, but that is all gone by the wayside now. He's looking really great here, and especially on that T side, just being the man to lead the charge on every single site take. He certainly showed at this point that, I mean, he obviously deserves to be leading the fragging count for this team.
Also, no Tech9 and Armor pickup or anything. They don't have a raid boss right now on Astralis. There is a strategy they used to love, whereby they would try and catch a CT player on long while they were rushing into the connector. So they would actually almost catch them running back into CT spawn. And it's a really quick one. I don't know if that's what we're going to see now. I mean, they are setting up the initial stages for it, but look at OpTic. They're going to meet them in the connector. Kjaerbye running in with the Glock first here, running into Naf, and Naf going to win the first fight. Oh, they're going to do it. Rush picking up a great double kill, and this is horrible for Astralis. Whatever plans they had, they're gone back. Kerrigan comes back in, jumps off the ladder, mid-air headshot. It's not going to make a difference. OpTic winning the pistol round on the second half and make it 12-4. That round was over in, what, 5 seconds?
And OpTic took a big risk on that, too, with that big push. You could see they were going to go over something like that. They didn't invest into any utility at all in it. They were not looking to hold it back. They wanted to go over that push. All 5 players invested into armor, and they immediately went for the contention of it. So, obviously, that huge surprise against Astralis puts them in the worst situation possible. The bells are now tolling, and specifically on this second round, they have to impact, because otherwise, I don't really see a way for them to round a comeback.
You have a lot of Tech 9s here, and Tarek is going to go down to the one deagle on the map, wielded by Dupree. He only takes a little bit of damage too, so they should be all right on that front. Mixwell dangerously out of the open, flash comes in. Oh, he can't find his way back, and what a second kill coming in. Device taking down Naf. What's going on, Blue?
Well, they certainly needed to win this round. At the moment, things are going very well. Stanislaw holding on the site, though, with one pickup. He looks for a second. All of a sudden, things are turning its head again, but Stan needs to get the reload out there. He's not going to have enough time for it. Kerrigan pushes his way up. He's going to be able to find the plant, and it's just on Rush now, too. Decision to be made whether he wants to go for this or hold back now, as he's the only one to check with a rifle. He's sneaking his way back up to the site very cautiously for good reason. Looks like he is going to try to move in there, but after not finding anything, decides to fall back here and hold, at least for a few seconds.
I think given the lack of a defuse kit, it would be a big risk to try and see if he could just walk in like this. Also, when the bomb is planted like this, think about how long he would have to look for them unless they came hunting. And Astralis, I think he can be sure they won't take that risk right now. So a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel for Astralis. I mean, we can't get too excited yet. The road back for them is very long, uphill, slippery, all of it.
And there's, of course, the possibility now, too, that OpTic just buy right into this next round and have the same upset again, as we've seen in many matches before. That decision will be made in a moment. Keep in mind, Rush obviously saving. They still have that rifle. The upgraded pistols, at least, come in for Tarek and Naf. No armor buys behind it, though, so it looks like they are just going to go for that.
Yeah, I would have been moderately disappointed if they had gone for the armor upgrade and used all that money in this round. I just think when you're this far ahead, it isn't quite worth it. If they were really far behind, I would have said fine, do it, take the risk. But when you're this far ahead, you can just use all of these rounds. You just have to win 4 more, and you're home safe. And you're on the CT side. I don't think it's worth the risk. Kievi going to be walking in already, shot at the face.
Certainly not worth the risk when you have some great positions to play from there, too, with the Astralis guys trying to push up towards construction early on. As you mentioned, Kirby being dropped down to 18 HP. And it's going to slow them up a little bit here as they make sure there's no one else that's taken up these sorts of positions here, although more damage coming in, too. I believe that's through the panel from Naf, and it brings Kirby down to just 4 HP now. Certainly not the best of luck for him in these opening seconds of the 18th round.
Now Astralis really need to think about what they're doing. They have all these guns and all the utility. They got to make sure they don't just get into long-range fights here that they could end up losing, especially if Rush is able to find any good place to stand with that FAMAS. Right now, he's down in the B-bomb site. Kerrigan being set up over at long. Going to go for a bit of a fight. Are they going to check the corner? Stanislaw is right there. And Kerrigan actually looked preoccupied. Now Stan's going to be walking behind him. This is dangerous. Kerrigan also down at 40. There's Tarek going down. A little bit of a kill happening for Astralis. And Device going to be moving up a little bit closer, looking for Mixwell, but they got to remember that flank. Stanislaw is still at it.
The good news is that flank isn't going to have a huge impact just yet since the hit's coming down to the B-bomb set, but Stanislaw should have just communicated that. So now they're going to rotate. He walks out, denied, of course, by Zipix. Great shot from him. And that's going to hold them up for a little bit. In fact, they've only got 15 now seconds on the clock, and they're all of a sudden trying to go for an A-hit. Device, though, he's pushed his way in. He's holding off the players that are rotating, and he should be able to get himself to this site and get the bomb down in time. 6 seconds on the clock. He's deploying that immediately, although Device over pushes. He's going to get knocked out. Over Naf meets the same fate, and we'll see Dupree picking up not just Naf, but Rush at the end of it.
There was definitely a scenario in which that round plays out differently. When Stanislaw gets that far in behind and they're sort of all looking the wrong way, I don't know, that could have gone any which way. It didn't, and Astralis going to buy themselves just a little bit more time here. 6-12 being the scoreline. OpTic still miles ahead. Now we'll see if that's going to change. Again, just some upgraded pistols, and the one flashbang here from Rush, he's going to set it up. They're going to go aggressive, but Kerrigan really far back right now.
OpTic here too, trying to play that aggressive push, but Kerrigan gonna peek back out. He overextends though, goes for the wide peek, and not only do we see Stanislaw grabbing a kill, but Tarek knocks out Device. There's no one else there, so they're gonna be able to pick up those guns. In the meantime, Astralis weren't able to get themselves onto the site and get the bomb down, but now OpTic, fast, they're gonna rotate around here and try to get themselves in positions around that B-bomb site.
Yeah, I mean, they were so far away when that bomb went down that actually coming in here and retaking it with even a little bit is going to be immensely difficult. Sip spraying down, doing good damage, going to pick up the double, and followed up by Dupree, takes one and goes for the double of his own. So that's going to be pretty much the end of the round here. Naf coming into it, but he doesn't have any utility. They shouldn't be fighting him right now. That bomb is out in the open. He can't do anything about it. And Astralis will lose 3 players and win the round. So honestly, that kind of a beginning, that's got to strike fear in your heart.
A lot of damage, though, coming in there as well, as that's going to bring the money down to a very manageable position here as OpTic gets themselves finally onto really what is going to be one of their first big rounds of this half. Most of these guys really not in great positions to be able to afford rebuys now from the Astralis side should this go into the next round with OpTic being victorious, but at the same time, we're still not seeing that op coming for the CT set as yet. It's just 5 rifles, and they're playing very aggressively too. That's Tarek out in party there. Device has seen him. It's just fishing out there, waiting for the opportunity to find the shot, and he's gonna grab it.
Reading that very well. You could tell from Tarek's point of view that was not easy, and Stanislaw also down to 11, so this is looking a little bit rough for OpTic. A deep breath right now. They gotta make sure they keep their focus. We've already seen what happens if Astralis sort of pick it up. They are definitely able to win a whole bunch of rounds. We saw it on Dust2 versus G2 earlier, and that was a little bit scary.
And so now we can see Mixwell holding for the short push, but this is not where, at least at the moment, a lot of the aggression is going to be moving in from. It's actually focused quite primarily over towards long here too, with a couple of guys still just holding at the entrance, the bathrooms, and for the rest of OpTic, they've decided to position 3 down over here towards the B-bomb site. We'll see both Kirby and Kerrigan, along with, of course, having still Zipniks in the position outside of Monster, shifting into here too to make some noise. And actually the bomb falling back too, I believe they're going to commit to this. This one's right into OpTic's trap. They still have 3 fully committed to this site.
They do, and I actually like this play. I feel like if you try and spread out thinly like this, then it's not going to work out. They need to stack up Device, making a little bit of noise. I think Mixwell heard that, and they're sort of walking right past each other. This could end very weirdly. Mixwell seeing Device, just one misstep here. Device took out his back turn. Mixwell should be an easy kill, but he's somehow not finding him. Device going to be running away. Mixwell has to run behind him, and there's going to be the kill finally happening. And now 14 seconds down to the B-bomb side. Rush going to be going down. A lot of trouble for Naf. He has to fall back. Oh no, Stanislaw going down, and Naf going to be overwhelmed. 6 seconds left. If they could have bought any more time, that could have been OpTic's round.
But it won't happen now, and for Mixwell, of course, the odds very heavily stacked against him. He'll fall back. That op is still sitting on the ground just outside connector. If he wants to run over and grab that too, certainly an option for him with the slower pace that Astralis has taken to move out, but obviously they've spotted the fact that he's running away and looking to save, so they're going to go for the hunt for him too.
Just by some odd coincidence, because Mixwell wasn't able to find a clean shot on Device early on, he also couldn't really communicate to his team exactly how many were there. It was like a really weird experience for Mixwell. So it wasn't his default necessarily, and it wasn't Device doing anything brilliant. It was just, yeah, a little bit weird. Mixwell going to be going down, so no AWP saved. In fact, nothing at all saved as we're moving into a 12-8 scoreline. And Astralis economy looking much better. And OpTic now, they're in a little bit of trouble. I wouldn't panic yet, but I mean, they've got timeouts of their own if they need them.
This is certainly now a very palpable comeback from Astralis here. Down only 4 rounds, and with OpTic not really seeming to find their footing here on this CT side, they've got plenty of room to bounce back here. But now we will see the guys from Astralis just proceeding directly out actually towards sewers there too, and OpTic has decided to take a risk again, focusing their players in the bathroom connector and out towards long. They won't more than likely find anything from Astralis, as much like many of these rounds, of course, Astralis will just be able to walk right into B should they proceed with it. And, well, they'll be able to find an open bomb site. But actually, hold on, they're shifting themselves back over here through the connector now, so they might find some trouble waiting in just a few seconds.
I love this from OpTic. I think this is smart work. He will be found there, Mixwell, but the fact that they're all stacked up like this, it's a really good idea. Kirby going to be going down, and out in the open, Kerrigan going to be a little bit careful. He will only pick up the 1 kill, and Naf sneaking in behind. Can he find the shot? Dupree in the back of the head, he dies, and another shot comes through. Device out of the round, and now it's down to Sip. He's in the B bomb site alone. He can get this bomb plant down, and they're in a 1-on-2. They don't have any armor. This is very doable for Xyp9x.
Out in the open too, and Xyp9x gonna waste no time. He's got that plant in the open, so he's able to retreat back through Monster, getting himself outside. OpTic are taking the slow path though, and actually they don't check it. There's the first pickup for Xyp9x against Nap. That's also the AK going down. It's Rush with a 5-7 that's looking to clutch. Moves in, taps onto the bomb. He knows where his opponent's at, but Xyp9x handles the final 1v1 anyway. Astralis are certainly back in this match now, 9-12, but they've got a couple more gun rounds to get through before they can really tie this up, as OpTic are once again going to invest here.
You've got to think it's hard if you're Astralis to high-five your teammates too much after a round like that, because it should have never gone to that. And the engagements they end up taking are all ones where they're out in the open, they can't get back behind any kind of cover, and they are kind of fighting alone, so very scary scenario. And now, just to add to the fear factor here, Mixwell has picked up the AWP, and I've been looking forward to this. Yeah,
I've been waiting to see this. I think this is the first time he's actually bought this in the entire game so far. We haven't, any time he's had this previously, I believe it would have been scavenged off of someone from Astralis or tossed over by a teammate. We saw Naf pick it up back on the T side there, but I don't think he ever went for it. So finally, we get to see him working with this, and he's going to be playing into that usual spot there in the bathrooms, waiting for a push. Astralis, though, are so far held back right now. They got the usual push up towards Monster, and they've got 2 players pushing lower tons up to Connector, but beyond that, no one is daring to peek out towards the bathrooms right now.
Well, both teams being very defensive. Device very much on his own, which I think is always a bit worrying when you got that AWP, the bomb far back in the terrorist hallways. So Astralis are ready to spend a lot of time playing this round. But you got to be careful they don't spend too much, because OpTic actually have, well, they still have 2 Molotovs lit. They just had a 3rd one, but that can buy even more time off the clock at a critical moment. Dupree having to fall back there. Could have been a fight, but it wasn't.
Caribou was in position too if they had waited a couple more seconds for that one, or if OpTic had been a couple seconds later, he would have been able to spring out the door and shut them down, but doesn't work out for the guys on Astralis. And now we are going to see that with the time getting a little bit lower, that Astralis need to start pushing towards the site. Device moves in, nicely done, catches Mixwell, and the second one on a Tarek. Stan responds, and actually Device takes a lot of damage from that Molotov that was tossed out on towards Long. He's at 11 HP, but it's all Nap now to hold this site. Sees the outshot, can't find the player, then he's gonna push in, shuts down the bomb, and instant flick onto the second one! Shuts down Device, all of a sudden it's 2v3, they can't find Nap, Stan's here, Nap's gonna push in, Dupree gets that kill, but it doesn't matter! OpTic have won the round, and they've got 13-9, restoring their lead, finally on the board again in this half. And Astralis, they've got another bye, but now they've lost their edge.
I've got YNK watching the game right next to us, and I just look forward to a bit of analysis of that particular round, just because, yes, the push for the smoke is so brilliant, but the way that round was set up is also a little bit nonsensical. Is Device just realizing at some point they're not going to challenge me on long, I can just walk all the way into their spawn and start shooting people. I mean, that's not a round you can plan for. That just happens sort of almost automatically, and then he just went with it. That should not have been an OpTic round. A massive, massive play coming out of Naf for his team. That's going to win OpTic the first round here in the second half. 13-9. Well, counting out the pistol, obviously, and we'll see how it goes.
So now Astralis here too. The other problem becomes, we talked about this before, is the utility factor for these guys. They don't have a lot to work with. What they've already used, they're down to just 2 smokes, and they do spot Stan. Try to jump up and peek there to that first bit of plywood. However, no damage connects here. And we do see them starting to just hold back now with a bomb position outside of Monster, but it's going to fall back and regroup with the other players that have just pushed past Party and are now entering the bathroom push up towards A.
Device has actually overtaken Tarek in kills right now. He's up to 20 at the moment, but neither team has any money, as you can tell. They are all so low on economy, and that's going to be a really big issue for whoever loses this round. That's pretty much what it comes down to. If OpTic win it, they could almost cruise through to the victory here. If Astralis win it, suddenly they become very competitive, and I'm not sure we can predict who's going to come out on top. With more pressure being put onto the A bomb side right now. Karrigan throwing that Molotov from far behind. They're bringing the bomb back towards B right now. This could be rough for OpTic.
Mixwell taking a lot of damage from the Molotov toss too, down at 20 HP as he walks directly through that. Naf tries to hold, but shut out by Dupree. It's a double push from Monster. Now Rush, he's got a big task. He's alone here. He's waiting for the cavalry to arrive. Takes that first stool, grabs it. Karrigan to take out a teammate, but a second pickup from him. And at the end of the day, Astralis just went out the gun battle there. They pick up another round, back to only 3 behind OpTic here, and that should break these CTs and force them onto another save.
You really can't envy Rush that kind of positioning, right? As soon as his teammate loses the fight in Monster, he is in a world of trouble. You know, he has to defend short and Monster all at the same time, and you could see he actually played it very cool. He didn't look panicked. He just didn't have many options, you know. So I think he played it roughly about as well as you can. That'll make it 13-10, and as you pointed out, OpTic now out of money, and Astralis, well, they just need to train on right now. I mean, the pattern is looking great for them at the moment. It's actually looking almost impossibly better than OpTics were on the first half when they were on the T side.
And we do see there too, that's actually, keep in mind, I believe these teams like 2 pauses per half. So with that said, that's OpTic's only first one that they've used here. You think at a certain point when Astralis was rounding this huge comeback, they would have tried to take a pause out, at the very least relax themselves and take an edge off of Astralis along with re-strategizing there, but they've just now used it, and at this point, there is still a very, very possible attempt for Astralis to round the retake. You see there too, just going back a couple rounds. Here's that huge play from Nav. A crazy spray transfer, dives right back in, and as soon as he's back into that site too, his teammates arrive and just start to shut things down.
Oh, and he picks up an AK instead of reloading his M4. Just, yeah. I mean, just the little details, the little beautiful stuff there coming out. Mixwell landing a headshot on Dupree, long range with its a USP. I don't know what I'm watching anymore.
They're going to send the remaining members of Astralis over towards the B site pretty quickly, although they don't go for the direct engagement here. OpTic should know at the very least there's going to be a couple players poking at this site in a few moments. So they're all rotating in here. Stanislaw saw it, but again, he's good decision. He's not going to peek back out here. They want the full force of their 5-man play on this site to try and stop them and upset on this round here. They're moving in. No members of OpTic have been knocked out yet. There you go, though. 2-for-1 trade on the site. Tarek finding the first one for the CT side. Nav finding a second one. This is even into a 2 versus 2 now. And Nav still holding in pit, trying to peek back up there. Getting a little bit of damage on the Kerrigan. A good pop flash as well, completely blinding him, but Nav doesn't want to push against that. Now he's blind, trying to get behind Toxic. Can't do it. And Kerrigan and Device will close out on that round. But that's another eco round where 3 out of 5 players from Astralis get knocked out.
And it really feels like, as we do see another post coming in, it really feels like it's OpTic playing with the momentum and with the confidence, and Astralis look like a team that are really scared of throwing any more rounds away, and you can't have that mentality. You got to put that out of your head. Even, I mean, that kind of a start from Mixwell is obviously great, but then it seems like it really gets to Astralis. You know, they don't have a plan for that, and then they could have very easily lost that fight down in B. They didn't, but I'm not sensing too much confidence coming out of the Danes right now, even though they've brought it back to 11-13. Who would have thought we had an 11-4 first half favoring OpTic? So this wasn't easy to predict, I would say.
And so it all comes down to these last couple of rounds here. OpTic as well are not going to buy up right here and try to force it through. A couple players were still sitting below the necessary threshold, so they're just going to upgrade again their pistols without armor. Astralis will have the edge here, and OpTic, a kind of dangerous decision, does let Astralis within 1 round of tying this up. If they drop that next gun round, they will probably take the lead here. And in the early push again, OpTic, instead of moving out towards long, they've gone into the connector this time, although it's not the greatest start. You can already see Rush too. I believe he was hit by a Molotov, and he's now down just below half of his HP.
Astralis playing similarly as to what we saw OpTic do on their T side early on here. You sort of everyone more or less grouped up. There doesn't seem to be many lone players you could pick off. The Ice is playing a little bit more aggressively, but generally speaking, they're in safe positions. So this should be a better round for them. And I'm not sure why they're making so much noise down here. Mixwell jumping and skipping. That's dangerous.
Now they should know that they're on the way here too. They move in though, all of a sudden Zipix caught what I believe is knife out there, although Mixwell doesn't connect any shots, so he's just going to dive right back there into the tunnels as we wait for Astralis themselves to make the push onto the site. Stanislaw is coming in from the other end. Zipix is kind of boxed in, but he sees it coming. Takes down Stanislaw. Very well played from Zipix. And Astralis is probably just going to crash onto this A site.
Yeah, definitely a valuable kill coming in there, and just the fact that he saw them, it was just fortunate timing. I think there wasn't anything sort of particularly happening there, but sometimes it's better to be lucky than it is to be good. Rush and Tarek are going to be hanging back looking for exit frags, and the same can be said for Mixwell and Naf over the other side, so not really much else to say here. It's going to be Astralis making it 12-13. So the next round, though, that's going to be the pivotal one.
That is going to be the one that could essentially decide this match, too, depending on the way that the post-round sets itself up here, too. But obviously, Zipix has spotted the double push, working its way out there from the upper tunnels. bit of trouble taking down Naf. And I think he eventually just ends up, nope, he re-peeks and he'll get taken down anyway. So Zivix picking up a couple frags here, and that last man alive from OpTic gets knocked out there too. Here we go though, it's the big round, the op pickup. They're actually, take a look at this, they're gonna go for a double op setup now on the OpTic side. We haven't seen this yet. Tarek is gonna pick up the second one. Mix will, of course, going for the primary op, and the rest are just going to invest as normal.
This is not a bad change of pace for OpTic, I feel like, especially if Astralis is going to be playing a slow pickoff game. You got two of those AWPs, basically doubling your chances. That's not too bad, but if Astralis get into a bomb site and you're retaking, who knows? That could be the downfall of this kind of a setup here. And again, this boost that we've been seeing for a while, just trying to see if they can catch anyone out. I kind of wish that they would, but OpTic are not being as aggressive as Astralis were on their CT side.
Look at C2, just the usual post up here from Tarek as he waits for the push into the bathrooms. The initial push from Stanislaw, though, that's going to net him a kill into Dupree. He's ready for it, but still doesn't get the kill. The spray in from Zipix doing great damage to Stanislaw, and he just stands there, he takes it. Now he's down at 13 HP all of a sudden.
I'm not sure if he thought he was being shot from somewhere else, because he was sort of crouching to try and maybe get out of it. A little bit of panic there. Sip now in the corner. Flashbang not going to do anything. They line up for him, but it's not enough to get the kill. This is still winnable, though, for Astralis. They have a minute. They're bringing the bomb back down towards the other side of the map, and we'll see. Actually, they think twice about it. A little bit of indecision right now as they're going to swap out weapons.
And they will, though, definitely decide to move into this B-bomb site with the time getting low itself. OpTic, though, falling back. They're making a very passive approach, only using Stan on the boost up. And interesting, too, is that he's the player at 13 HP boosted up there. But it does work out because I think the way it's going to work out, too, is for the most part, only his head's going to be visible here. So he would have died anyway due to the shot, more than likely.
It's true, but I feel like people check this so often now. Actually, they wouldn't have checked it, and now the game is up. They realize they don't have any grenades, though, Astralis to hold them back. 22 seconds. The bomb is going to be going down 4 versus 3, and this is the round for OpTic. If they want to close out this game, they've got to do it right now. Otherwise, they could let Astralis right back in and even out the scoreline. Carrigan holding the sniper nest on the top and actually looking both ways right now. He's going to miss the shot, but Stan's going down. Kievu picking up 2 massive kills, and Carrigan taking down Mix while it's all on Tarek. He's going to get 1 kill, and now up on the box, down towards. He doesn't have a kid picked up, and Carrigan's right on the other side with the M4. If he misses the shot here, Tarek, that's going to be it. He's going to get it. Oh my God, what a jump in. Has to run and pick up the kit and falls back over. Does he get it? I think he is going to get it just in time.
It's going to be so close, but it looks like they've claimed that OpTic win such an important gun round there. 14-12 is going to be the scoreline here. With that, it has at the very least left enough money for Astralis to buy back in. So we are not done yet, as now Astralis are going to use one of their tactical pauses, and the crowd definitely roaring with that one.
That was, he might as well only have had 1 bullet in the AWP. If he misses that jump into Monster, it is done. There's nothing he can do to win the round. But then again, if he doesn't do this, if he plays this game where he sort of taps the bomb without the kit, that's not really a winning strategy either. Look at this shot. Oh my God, the green wall stands, and it's 14-12, favoring OpTic. They're 2 rounds away from defeating Astralis here on Overpass.
This round 2 is going to completely empty it out. This is certainly now, if we see the loss from Astralis, going to decide it, as unless they can upset on that following forced up pistol round, they won't be bringing much else beyond that to the table. But it's full AKs with this T side. No one dares to invest to an op here. OpTic, though, that's the other thing, is technically speaking here, Astralis, they kind of have a better buy going into this one. There's 2 FAMASas on the CT side. Only Mixwell has the op. They've lost the double op setup, and Stan has to go to an SMG.
A little bit more pace. I think that's what they wanted to do, but you can tell that Molotov, and it's a little bit worrying. I feel like if they had smoked it and run through, you know, Stanis was the only one on the other side, it could have got a little bit worrying, but they didn't want to risk it right now, Astralis, and you can't blame them for that either. I'm going to put Dupree in, sneaking through, checking the barrels. Stanislaw very much alone at the moment with a UMP as well. He needs backup, and it is coming, and really quickly as well. Some smokes going up here for Astralis, setting up to execute onto the side. Rush showing up with just a FAMAS, not the greatest weaponry. They're putting down the bomb right on the other side. Look at that great kill coming through. Naf's going to be going down. Rush following up with Dupree. That bomb plant, they're trying to make it happen, but it just won't. It's finally done, but they've lost almost all their members. Carrigan taking one, turning around. Now it's a 2-on-2, but they have no help left.
And now we will see OpTic shutting it down. They did get the plant here, so Astralis at the very least get themselves that little bit of extra cash boost, but it's another round for OpTic. They shut it down with forced up weaponry, And now they go up to match point. It's been a struggle, to say the least, to find these rounds, considering they started off 11-4, but they've gotten there. They've got their lead back once again. And this final buy, obviously, again, Astralis are going to use their last pause here, but this final buy is going to come in for them. And it's actually not going to be that bad because they find that plant.
That definitely helped them out quite a bit, but I mean, that play from Stanislaw, if he had tried to take the fight to buy time with a UMP, I think he would have been overrun. Instead, he waits on the other side of that box, and it works out. Very creative play coming out of him. 15-12, ladies and gentlemen. One more round for OpTic. And they're going to be able to defeat Astralis on LAN. To just add to the teams they've beaten recently, it's really impressive.
OpTic just needing to shut this last one out, and that also gets rid of the issues that they had in that previous round too. Everybody is fully invested this time. The pause time has run out though. Astralis, they have also run out of time to try and round this comeback. It's all or nothing right here to keep their tournament lives going. And for OpTic as well, the chance to upset against another European team and push them one step closer to the semifinals.
They would have right now to fight it into overtime. Mixwell finding a little bit of confidence, going to go for it. That flashbang ruining his plans. That would have been a great shot to start off the round with here. You've got to think any mistake right now, and OpTic run away with this one.
OpTic again though, just not even playing it out aggressively too. They've noticed before, especially out towards bathrooms, that they've been willing to toy with it a bit, but after they're initially flashed out there, they fall right back. All 5 players are just stuck on the sites right now, so they're going to let the Astralis players get full control across the map here. They'll be able to line up whatever take they want, whatever sort of strategy they want to run. It's only going to be restricted once they start to get close to those sites.
And Mixwell very far back right now with the AWP. Going to be nearly impossible to pick him off, so if you can't kill him, then smoking him off is the other option. But then they only have 3 smokes, so they need to put these down perfectly, and they can't fake it out. They sort of, once the smokes are down, they either run immediately to the other bomb site or they commit to the ones where they're down. There's not many options, and Dupree, you can tell he's setting up for one. The bomb is down on the device on the other side, so we already know what's going to happen here. But OpTic don't. There's the commitment as well with the Molotov. Right now, from OpTic's point of view, this is going to feel like a real push. The smokes are down. Mixwell trying to get some information. They're going to boost Tarek up to see what's actually happening. And down on the other side of the map, Rush and Stanislaw trying to hold it down. Tarek getting shot in the face. Dupree sticking by it. This is really hard for OpTic to, and now they're going to be rotating back. Stan out in the open. Oh, they almost line up, but he can't get the double kill. Rush now has to hold on.
It's going to go into a 3 versus 3 here to try and decide the matchup. But Rush and Pit, they didn't clear it. He moves up. The second kill from him. He might just clutch it out now. Dupree, you've got 4 HP in 8 seconds. I don't know if this is going to happen. He's flashed out, and Rush will get the final kill. It's OpTic Gaming that close it out here, knocking Astralis out of the event. They keep their own tournament lives alive for now and push into one of the final stages of the group stage here. That's 2 European teams now out of the mix, and both from North America are still in the running.
Very, very impressive that last round. So hard to play if you're on the OpTic team. You got all the grenades. You even lose a guy on the A bomb site, and Stanislaw gets caught in the rotation going back, and they still win it. That's very well deserved. 16-12 in favor of them. I'm just very impressed here.
We saw quite a few very good reads there too from OpTic. Quite a few very good decisions of the way that they did play it back, especially when players were over on that box. I think it was 2 rounds ago where we had a player on the site. I think it was either Rush or Nath with that SMG. They'd hold on the site. Instead of taking that duel, as you mentioned, and just losing his life, he waits for the reinforcements. Nobody from Astralis checking that, and he's a huge proponent to closing out one of those final rounds. Great plays overall, and a hugely impressive performance from OpTic. Did blunder a little bit there at the beginning of the second half, but great closeout.
Absolutely. They definitely are fighting for their lives right now, and they are well deserved. We are going to get a full tactical breakdown of what just happened after the break.